again to my channel. We'll be learning a new topic about looping control structures, which we call as do-while. Okay? In our previous video, we have discussed about while loop. Okay? So here we will be discussing about another type of looping, which is do-while in Java programming. Okay, a do-while loop works like a while loop. It basically repeats a block of statements several number of times, multiple of times. Okay, so this is the syntax. I will show you a clearer version of the syntax. Okay, and we'll discuss the syntax and how it works. So first is if you can still remember in our while loop, okay, this is the syntax of the while loop. If you can still remember the while loop, it will test first the condition. Okay, so in do while loop, it basically needs to execute first the statement and then the condition. Okay, in while loop is it will test the condition and then execute the statement. In do while loop, it will need to execute first the statement and then the condition. So it will basically start here in the statements. It will execute the number of statements there, and then it will test the condition. If the condition is true, it will execute again the statements. Okay? And then after execution of the statement, it will go back to the condition. If the condition is still true, it will execute the statements again. Until such time, until such time that the condition will be evaluated to false. So when the condition is false, the do while loop will be terminated. Sorry, I need to write. I will correct myself here because it should be while. Okay, while and then condition. Okay, sorry for that. So basically, execute the statements and then test the condition. If it is true, it will go back to the statement or execute the statements again, and then it will test the condition. If it is true, it will execute the statements again, and then go back to the condition. If the condition now is false, the do while loop will be terminated. Okay? So let's have a tracing the output session. So I will be showing you an example here, a practice problem for our do while. Okay. So in our practice problem, we will need to create a program that will instantiate an integer to 5 and then display the squared values from 1 to 5. So we are expecting that the output are the squared values of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay? So we basically need to instantiate an integer first, or declare and instantiate an integer first. So in, let's name it as n equals to 5. And then we need a looping variable. So let's call the looping variable as I, and we will be instantiating it as 1 because we'll be starting with 1 based on our problem. Okay, so we will be starting our do while loop with our do keyword, and then we will be printing. So we can automatically compute naman the squared values in our system.out.println. So I will write system.out.println, and then I write here I times I. Okay, so I times I. Okay, So that's our statement to display, okay, I times I. Okay, so you don't need to declare another variable for just to store the result of this I times I, which is the squared value of the current value of I. But if you want to, you can still declare another variable to store the current value of the result of I times I. Okay? And we need an increment statement, okay, I plus plus, in order to increment or add value to our I, add 1 to our value of our I. And then write while, and then our condition. So our condition here will be I is lesser than equal to n, which is basically 5, and then semicolon. So let's trace the output, no? So we started with n equals to 5 and I is equals to 1. Okay? So here we will be executing first the statement. So before evaluating the condition, okay? So we will execute the statement I times I, print the value of I times I. So our current value of I is 1. So that means 1 times 1 will be printed. So the result of that is basically 1. Okay, and then increment I. So I will become 2. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So it will proceed to the condition. So we started with I is 1 is lesser than 5, and then 2 is lesser than 5. So that is true. So it will execute again the statements. So system.out.println I times I, which is our current value of I, is 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. So it will be printed. And then I plus plus, which is 3. Then it will test or evaluate the condition. So 3 is lesser than equal to 5. So that is true. So it will print the result of I times I, which is the current value of I is 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. So it will be printed. So I plus plus, our I will become 4. 4 is lesser than equal to 5. So that is still true. It will execute again the statements. It will print the result of the current value of I, which is 4. So 4 times 4 is 16. It will be printed, and then I plus plus 5. Then 5 is lesser than equal to 5. That is still true. And then it will execute the statements. It will print the result of I times I, which is 5 times 5. So 25. It will be printed. Then I plus plus, it will become 6. So it will test it will test 6 is lesser than equal to 5. So that is basically false. Okay, 6 is lesser than equal to 5 is false. So when it is false, the do while loop will be terminated. Okay? So we'll now proceed to our coding part. So this is the problem for our coding part. We'll be using NetBeans for this. Okay, so this is our practice problem for the while loop. So earlier we have discussed about the syntax and the control flow of the while loop, and we also have an example of the while loop. So let me read the problem. So create a program that will ask a user a number n. So let's say n, compute the sum from n to the 1, then display the numbers n to 1 and the sum. So it's like you print in descending order. So if the number is 5, so you will print it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay? So I will be doing it in NetBeans. So I already created a project here. Okay, java.util.scanner. You can use JOptionPane if you want to, but in my case, I'll be using Scanner. Okay, so I will be instantiating the scanner here. Okay, And we'll be declaring necessary numbers. So n basically for our input. So our loop variable will start with 1 because we'll end at 1 based on the exam problem, and then sum will be initialized to 0. Okay, and then we'll start our do while. So we start with do. Okay, so in do while, you write first the statement before the condition. Okay, so our statement is basically to get the sum. So sum plus equals to I. So this statement is the same with sum is equals to sum plus I. So this is the statement where you populate the sum variable from 0, and then you will add it on every iteration. So 0 plus 1 plus 2, 0 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2, etc. Okay, up to 1. Okay, so we will be printing. Okay, so our loop variable must start with must start with 5 because we'll start the printing from 5. Okay, so int I equals to 5, so that will be our loop variable. So system.out that print print lang, and then I, which is our loop variable, we start with 5 plus space. Okay, and then since this will be in descending order, so we will not use the increment. We will be using the decrement, which is to subtract 1 to the value of our loop variable, which is I. So it will not be I plus plus, it will be I minus minus. Okay, then our condition here will be I is greater than equal to n, I think. I is greater than equal to 1. So that should be our condition because we will end with 1. Okay, so 0 below will be the loop will be terminated. And then we will print the result. So print ln /n, so the sum from the value n okay, I'm sorry, this should be, our loop variable should be equivalent with our n. Okay, so let's not initialize it with 1 or 5 first, because we will be asking first a number here before the do while. So enter a number, and we will be storing the number from int n. So next int. Okay, and then so I will be equal to m. Okay, so yon. Alright. Okay, so I'll just remove that. So the sum from n to 1 is, and then let's print the sum. Yeah. So let's try to run our code. So let's have a code here. Int n
I, and then sum equals to 0, and then enter a number, SC dot next in, and then I equals to n, then sum. This is our do while. So inside our statement, the sum plus equals to I, which is equivalent to sum equals to sum plus I, and then we'll be printing the value of I, and then I minus minus to decrement the value of I, and then our condition is I is greater than equal to 1, because we will end at 1, and then we'll print the value of sum. So let's print this. Let's print number, let's say 5. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the sum from 5 to 1 is 15. Okay, so let's run again. Let's put space pala sa here from here. Okay. So let's run again here. So let's say 15. Okay. So we displayed 15 up to 1, and then the sum from 15 to 1 is 120. Okay. So that is our code for our problem, and this is our discussion of our do while. So thank you for listening and watching. So you can watch the next video, which is about for loop. Okay. Bye.